Welcome everyone. That hand going across, that's the equivalent of boom baby. Boom baby. Welcome everyone, Mate Talk time. What is Mate Talk? It's one continuous roll with my companionship being my mate. It's about mates getting together, talking about perfumes across the world and other fun things. Let me begin. So at the end of this, I will have an announcement which will cover three things. One, we do have a spin. There will be the spin for the members only, and then the spin for the Penhaligon promo that we had last week. I will be announcing that I am in Paris. We're going to be doing the fragrance tour in the south of France, and I'll be in Paris for a couple of days. I'll tell you more. And the last thing is, for those who might not realize or know, we actually launched a fragrance brand called Olfactive Traveler. It's all connected to our tours that we do. This was the Italy collection, 3 fragrances that we launched, and we're about to release the next one. So I'll tell you more regarding that, because as of the 1st of August, we begin the communication around that. Of late, I've had a real, it's like a renaissance or like a reboot when it comes to all things oud. I don't want to say that I become obsessive, but I think it's a little bit verging on obsession, because when I really fall in love with a particular note, I start to just double down on it. Like not long ago, I was vanilla and everything was I was just spraying vanilla everywhere. Then rose, I really got hooked up on rose, and of late, and it's really because of these beautiful Monegals that I purchased. So the brand is Monegal, and they do ouds. Honestly, I just it reignited my passion for the oud fragrances and the oud note. For those who know me, I was doing a lot of the Xerjoff ouds. I'm not saying that I don't want to sort of pit them against each other. However, I have been reaching for these way more. I've become addicted, obsessed with these 3 ouds. For those who may have missed my episode, I actually spoke in more detail on Sunday regarding this. And one thing that I really love about the Monegals that I'm sort of delving into is the respect for the natural raw ingredient. And this is something that drew me initially to Ramon's work. And when it comes to the oud, and I mentioned in that episode, actually, I don't want to steal too much of my own thunder, so watch that episode, but I did use a quote which is sine qua non. And it's a Latin word, and it basically means without which not, or without which not, meaning that without certain elements, it's a legal term, without certain elements, then we can't proceed. And in this case here, this is something that Ramon said to me, that without naturals, then the composition's not right. And he wants to, if there is a really good natural, he wants to explore it as opposed to bringing in a aroma molecule that can substitute for it. I resonate with this kind of dialogue. For those who know the channel, a similar thing happened with Jean-Luc Paris and his Paris collection, where the same thing occurred. I interviewed Jean-Luc, and he mentioned the same thing, that he travels half around the world looking for unique raw ingredients or raw notes, and the last thing he wants to do is now crowd it with all sorts of other things, including Matière Première, another one where Aurélien Guichard recently, have a look at this photo, where he basically said the same thing. He goes, travel half around the world, and why would I want to crowd this particular note when I really should be celebrating it? So this is basically what's happened with a lot of the Monegals. I'm just saying this, if you have an opportunity if there is Monegal close by, please go and explore. And today, actually, I got this particular message from a subscriber saying that he had Monegals in his boutique, and one thing they didn't explore were the ouds that he had in front of him. And I suggested to him to actually test the ouds in the following order, and I included one which I want to talk about today. But before I go there, I want to talk about ouds, and I had like 12 to 14 fragrances that I'm really enjoying, but it's too much for me to talk. It becomes like a marathon. So I actually sat with my son Nelson, who also enjoys oud, and I said to him, which of these resonate best with you? So from that, these are Nelson approved essentially. So Nelson tick of approval. So there were and the ultimate test of approval is when he puts it on skin. I mean, I'm the same. So he put two on his arm, and one of them was instantly, and one he put on his chest, which actually now chest, and he actually sprayed in the back of his neck. So that signifies that this one he really, really enjoys. So here are Nelson approved and ticks. These are ones that I'm absolutely loving, so you get my approval too. And the first one that he put on his arm was, in fact, another Monegal, which is now Flamenco Extrait. So that leads me to what I was saying before to this individual. When it comes to exploring these ouds, what I would recommend is put them in sort of, so test them out in this sort of. Soul of Oud should be your first test. Has a beautiful chocolatey, oudy sensation to it. Then the second one is this one here, and I'll go into it in a few minutes. Then Oud on Fire, and then finally Alhambra Oud. I would put it in that order, and that'll give you a chance to experience the nuances on each of them. Now let me go here. So there is a fragrance called Flamenco, which I love. The problem with Flamenco is it has a very accelerated, accentuated raspberry, almost sweet cordial note in it. And it's purposely been turned up to 11. It has a rose in there, and so you have this beautiful play with a very fruity raspberry, super lively, very playful, very fun, very summer. Can be a little bit feminine, and the reason why I say that, I did a blind smelling with Elias. Here it is here. And the moment I sprayed, he's like, whoa, this is like, it was over the top for him. It was way too much. It's a fragrance I was wearing, or have been wearing. I like Flamenco a lot. This was in my rose obsession phase, so I was getting way into roses. And yes, it's a beautiful fragrance. Now, if you want something that's a little bit more tempered and pulled back, then I would recommend to you Flamenco Extrait, because now what it does is it brings in or introduces an oud note. And that oud note, on the opening in particular, really cuts back on the sweetness of that raspberry. So I find that the opening of this fragrance is almost to the point of being gasoline leather-like. It has quite a robust oud sensation or leathery sensation that comes forward. You can just begin to detect some of that fruitiness and a bit of that rose that's in the background, but not too overtly, because of that heavy sort of gasoline leather oud, sort of animalic nature to it. But then as it begins to dry down, it sort of pairs itself back, and it really strips back the sweetness of that raspberry, and then creates this sublime, just very smooth composition between the oud, the raspberry, and the rose. It is magical. And that's what it is here. So I'm still getting a little bit of that leathery oud sensation. Again, I'll say this once, all fragrances on me at the moment have been, other than my chest, which I'll tell you which one that is, that's been there for about 4 hours now, whereas everything else is about an hour and a half, 2 hours. So here I find that the raspberry, the rose, but now with that leathery oud sensation coming through, the balance is magical and easy for now a man to wear. Where it could be said that the Flamenco is a little bit more feminine leaning, a guy can easily wear it, but this one here is a little bit more, I guess, has a bit more robust, so a man can comfortably wear it. Now, one thing about it is, and I put here in massive letters, long lasting. So I was wearing this as my fragrance yesterday. I was dressed up, I went to church, halo, bump, and this was my fragrance of choice. It was divine, honestly. This fragrance, it just pushes off. I mean, I had my normal suit on. Sometimes I wear a 3-piece suit, but I had my normal suit on, and it just pushed off me. It was just sublime. It was a coolish bit of sunshine yesterday, but it was resplendent. It was a glorious, great fragrance to be wearing. But I woke up this morning smelling Flamenco coming off my skin. So super long lasting. You're going to get 12, 24 hours without a problem. It does have great push. It does have a not delicate, it has an oud touch. It's not delicate, it's distinct, it's quite present. But I find it highly sophisticated. It's a very sophisticated fragrance, it's a very well put together, very debonair, very great for going out, great for suiting up on. It's a great for meetings. So it has a distinct touch to it. I put here, but but not for tourists. So if you're not familiar or comfortable with oud, genuine oud, then I don't know whether this might be the thing for you. I've got one that will be more that. Here, you need to be at least a veteran on my scaling system, a veteran onwards to be able to really appreciate that beautiful thing there. Okay, boom. Let me move on. The one that Nelson liked a lot, and I do recommend this now, if you want to get into more of a comfortable oud place, so start moving away from those ouds that, and what I mean by that is that you spray it and you just get this warm, woody sensation as opposed to the oud note coming through. And I guess a lot of this was also motivated in that video. I did talk about a very close friend of mine who said, I love ouds, and she mentioned the brand. So I'm like, okay, well, it's not really oud, but sure, no worries. And I said, well, if you love oud, and I'm like, what type of ouds do you like? And she's, well, I really like sort of ambery and warm. And I said, well, let me spray Oud on Fire for you. And I tell you, I think I nearly killed her. She was like, what in the world is this? Her eyes just went wide. So yeah, so if you want to get into oud and start discovering, I would recommend this brand to you. I actually like Astrophil and Stella. They don't get a lot of airplay. I feel that things are pretty quiet, but they're awesome. They're genuinely, the whole collection is fantastic. And I do love Nabati Oud. So they came out with Nabati, which is a beautiful fragrance, a slight oud touch. Nabati Oud now really accelerates that oud sensation a lot more. All those other notes are still there, so you're still getting that playfulness from the spice and the touch of that sweet sort of fruitiness in it. Mind you, all that's listed is bergamot, but I do get like a sweet something sensation. It's quite pleasant on that opening. As it dries down, and this is where I am now, let me just... I do get like a slight musky aquatic sensation along with that oud. The spices sort of come off. There are some early in the fragrance, there are these beautiful spices that are playing, and it's very inviting, it's very playful. It is a little bit more serious, so it's not very sunshine and that sort of style. It would be a great dress-up fragrance, would be a great fragrance for the office. But then when it dries down, as I mentioned, it does go into that more sort of slight musky aquatic with that oud sensation and a little bit of the spices. Easy. This is an easy fragrance. So if you're now a new recruit or a semi-pro and you want to sort of move through, I would recommend to you Nabati Oud as a great place to begin that oud journey for yourself. It is an easy wear. And when Nelson sprayed this, he was like, oh wow, that's nice, that's easy. And he started to, all the things I've just shared with you, it's easy to wear, it's easy to love, it's an easy fragrance to reach for, etc., etc. Boom. And when it comes to its longevity and presence, I do get probably about 6 to 7 hours. When it comes to its push off me, it's in that moderate. It's not a huge push, but it's not, obviously it's got oud in it, so it doesn't have a body scent sort of appeal to it. All right, let me move on to some things. These next ones now, these are non-tourists. And okay, let me define what is a tourist. So, and I say this respectfully because you do you when it comes to travel. I have close friends of mine who go, and this happened recently, I had a friend of mine ring who said to me, I'm going to Italy and I'm planning to go beep, bop, boom, boom, bing, bing, bing. And he gave me this list of locations. And I'm like, brother, how long are you going for? He goes, I'm going for 2 weeks, 2.5 weeks. I'm like, stop, stop. And this is what, I lie not. I said, all you're going to do is you're going to do Florence, because he's landing in Rome. So you're going to do Florence, and you're going to finish in Rome, and you're going to go home. And that's it. And he's like, oh, do you think I'll see enough? I'm like, you will see plenty. So a tourist is a person who has a long checklist and literally buys a t-shirt from all these locations. And I've been to, I've seen, and you're not really experiencing the real thing, So, and again, if that's how you love to travel, there's no judgment. I'm happy for you, but it's not the way that I like to do it, So if I go to a new place, I normally stay 5 minimum to 9 days in one location, and I don't move. I just stay in one place, and we just, try to uncover and turn as many corners and get lost as often as possible, just so you can find the soul of the place. That's what I'm more interested in. So when I say sort of tourist oud, that's what I mean. It's not really, you're not really getting a sensation. You're just getting sweet, ambery, or woody notes, but not necessarily getting the texture of the fragrance. No judgment though, no judgment. All right, so the next one that I would put to you is Fueguia, and this is Dunas de un Cuerpo. De un Cuerpo? De un Cuerpo, yes. Now Dunas, I'm guessing is dunes. De un Cuerpo is body, so it's I'm gonna say it's the shape of the body. And I think that the name of it suits it really well because it is very contouring when it comes to its scent profile. There's another fragrance called Tonka Bodycon by Pierre Guillaume. And for me, the opening is somewhat similar. Now, let me temper this because if you spray this and you spray Tonka Bodycon, you'd be like, I'm talking madness. On the opening, you're getting a very caramel, apple brandy, sort of boozy effect, very herbal, and it is intense. There's an intensity to it. But for me, I find that this apple brandy sensation, booziness, is quite present. And it lingers for about 30 or so minutes. And it does make me think of Tonka Bodycon. For me, Tonka Bodycon has a wonderful vanilla, amber, brandy, apple, just caressing sort of nature to it, which pretty much stays in that place. You know, it opens quite beautifully on that boozy, but then it dries down to a very wonderful amberous vanilla sensation to the fragrance. So it opens similar to that. The difference is that obviously it has oud in it, and then the oud begins to sort of take shape and push forward. I also find that there is this herbal sensation, whether it's aniseed or caraway seeds, another one. So it's not clearly like a licorice necessarily, but it does have those kind of herbal, dark molasses sort of element to it. When Nelson sprayed this, instantly he's like, whoa, this is arresting. He didn't put it on skin, so the only one so far that he's put on skin is Flamenco. This one here was on cotton. He's like, whoa, this is really cool, this is really different. But it's quite unusual. And the thing about why I love it is that it is one contouring, and it is a very sort of a quieting of the mind style of fragrance. I find that this one, and back, it's my camera. I do my drain the battery trick. Like I was saying, the calming of the mind. So it's all about lowering vibrations. If you wanting to like read a book or write in your diary, if you want something to really just steady your mind, great fragrance to really calm things down. It's very grounding. The wood elements to it are quite divine. And then, as I mentioned, that booziness, something that it has, stays throughout the fragrance pretty much all the way through. Getting the touches of those spices, as I mentioned, I do get like that herbal caraway seed or like a slight fennel, licorice sort of appeal to, feeling to it. It's not for everybody. I covered in fragrances. I said to Sandra, what do you think of this one? She's like, bleh. So this is again, not for a tourist. So if you like something that's a little bit more distinct, different, but so here's the thing, let it breathe in the air. So if you bring your nose to it, it's not a fragrance you want to bury your nose into. I don't mind it. I enjoy it, to be honest. But it's not one where someone who's not comfortable with oud, I don't recommend that you put your nose against it. Boom. All right, the next one that I've got here, which I'm also loving, and also very similar to Dunas de un Cuerpo in the sense that you don't bury your nose, just let it do its thing, is a fragrance by a gentleman called Maksim. He's the son of Dmitry Bortnikov. So for those who know the Bortnikov brand and know that the style is very similar. So father and son are very similar. They do love using good natural oud from Southeast Asia. Well, actually, that's where most of it comes from. And they also like using musks. So they're very much into delving into those naturals. In this case here, the fragrance, this is called Oud Indochine, and it has 3 types of oud, one from India, one from Southeast Asia, that's what it's named, and then the other one is from Laos. You would think with those 3 sort of, that kind of oud presence, it would have this intensity to it. That's not the case. I found that this is a very regal, a very sophisticated fragrance. When Nelson sprayed, this is another one that Nelson put on his arm, by the way. When Nelson sprayed this, the first thoughts that he said, which I agree with, is this is a very well put together person. So someone who is in a suit, or someone who's going to a special function, or someone who wants to sort of exude some kind of confidence, some kind of a statement maker, essentially. The thing about it is that it's not a huge room filler, so it's not something that will punch through walls. It's actually quite a restrained fragrance, considering that it has that much oud presence to it. When it does open, it has the most divine, sort of ensnaring, boozy effect that it sort of just brings you in. There is a different levels of feeling to the fragrance, in the sense that you get like a spicy element, you do get a boozy element, you get this leathery effect. The oud is definitely present and coming forward. And then when it dries down, it does have more of a sort of woody oud, almost of a powdery effect. There is like a dustiness to the actual fragrance. And the smokiness. So I'm getting a slight smoky, not campfire, so not like a Toroni or anything like that, but there is a smoky sensation to the fragrance. It's, I go back, it's a very sophisticated, very elegant fragrance. Something that I would, if you like oud, this is something that you would enjoy. Let me make sure that I'm covering all my points. Oh yes, okay, so when it comes to its presence and longevity, 12 plus hours without a problem. It's not, so it starts off quite present, you know, very commanding. And I'm gonna say probably about an hour deep, you're still in that very sort of commanding place. Then sort of begins to sort of dry itself back. As I mentioned, I'm about 2 hours deep, an hour and a half, 2 hours deep. And it's, I'm detecting it, so it's still present. I've got one fragrance here that is dominating, and I'll tell you about that in a second. But it's, yeah, so if this is my fragrance of choice, it would be something that would, yeah, 12 hours. This is what you get, 12 hours without a problem. As I mentioned, so far, Nelson put it on his arm. The Flamenco Extrait, he instantly, as soon as he smelled it, he's like, yep, this is a win, boom, and he sprayed it. Second one, he liked the regal, elegant, sophisticated nature to this fragrance here. He did feel that it was a lot more oud leaning, which I would agree, and so he sprayed this one here. The next one is, boop, boop, boop. So hope that covers enough. The next one here is the one that I'm wearing today and the one that he sprayed on his chest, in the back of his neck. He's like, one spray and he was like, whoa, this thing is magic. And that is BDK's new inclusion, Oud Paradisio. Now, I was invited by Libertine Perfumery. Here's the video. I'm really, thank you to Libertine. I love that they're of late inviting the creators of these different brands and allowing us to actually engage with them. Recently, Aurélien Guichard, which this has been a bucket list experience, it's been a bucket list checklist for me to actually meet Aurélien. I've always loved the work that he does. They had an event at the Libertine store here in Armadale, and got a chance to meet him, had a chance to speak to him. Obviously I talked about KM fragrance tours and the tours that we do, because I would love to go to Grasse and to the Rose Farm and things like that. So I had a wonderful chance to meet him, and then I had a chance to meet last week with David Benedict. And again, for those who know me, I'm forever talking about the brand BDK. I do love the work that they do. I do love the work that David does, more specifically. He was very, I mean, for me, for a person who is very successful, he was very, very accessible, really easygoing, very friendly, and yeah, I found him just like, if you wouldn't know, put it this way, I've met some other brand owners and it's almost like, do you know who I am? Like, yeah, I know who you are. Whereas David was very low key, very just accessible and, you know, easygoing, which it was nice to connect on a human to human basis, basically. Anyway, at the event, all three fragrances were showcased. The two others, so the number one is the boom, boom, boom. Sorry, I forgot the names. It's terrible. Boom, boom, I wrote it down. Silver Ceremony, that's the citrus one. That one is good. It wasn't for me. So it was a good fragrance. I could see the bones in it. It would be a great summer fragrance. The next one which is the silk one. My gosh, I need to write my, so Stella silk. Stella silk, that's the win. So this beautiful tonka, woody, sandalwood, creamy, amber, vanilla touch to it, gorgeous fragrance. But I wanted something different. And I, like everyone there, all the other guests that were there, that Stella silk was the absolute win. For me, the win was Oud Paradisio. Unusual. So when it opens, and I'm glad that, because I said this on the day, and everyone looked at me like I had three heads. David hadn't arrived yet. We were experiencing the fragrances. When I smelt it, I said this. They're looking at me like, I don't know what you're talking about. But I get a very rice or cereal note coming through. On the opening, it's quite a nutty, sort of cereal kind of texture to the actual fragrance. When Nelson sprayed, he did the same thing. Like, oh, I'm getting a nutty vibe, a creaminess to it. In fact, it's actually pineapple, and it's meant to be a pineapple ice cream. So this creaminess that is in the actual fragrance comes through quite distinctly. You are getting a pineapple sensation, but think of a creamy pineapple. Think of a pineapple that literally is drenched in cream and ice cream and has a slight vanilla sort of touch to it. Then the oud begins to present itself down the road. I've been wearing this the last couple of days also. This is the fragrance of my choice for today. This is the fragrance that Nelson doused himself with also. I did ask him afterwards, you know, how did it perform? What did you think of it? He loved its performance, meaning that it was 12 plus hours in the morning. He said that he could still smell it, even as he was having a shower, he could sort of was re-emerging. His wife said that it was a little bit feminine leaning, so she found that it was a bit on the sweet side. It does have that pineapple note, which is, I guess maybe that ice cream, perhaps it has some kind of vanilla element to it. I actually like it. So for those people who love Oud Maracuja, it's nothing like it, so don't compare it to that. But if you love that fruit oud combination, that sort of a little bit of that fruitness with the intensity and the robust nature of oud, then this is a beautiful combination that's done differently. The Oud Maracuja obviously has a very tardy passion fruit element to it, whereas here you're getting a very creamy pineapple, but not on the tropical side of things. So it's not like a mango and pineapple sort of sparkling nature to it. It's a lot more pared back. I find that the sweetness levels are down, but there is a distinct nature to it. Now I'm gonna smell, so excuse me. I'm deep in the oud phase right now. So again, this is another one where I asked Sandra, what do you think? And as I leaned forward and sort of fanned my jumper, she's like, ooh, oud. So this is for me, I can breathe this in. It has a gorgeous scent profile, but I would allow this just to do its thing in the air. You're gonna get, like I mentioned, 12 plus hours, very unique, something completely different, something quite unusual. If you like your fruit oud combination, then I would recommend that, but not for tourists. Yeah, it's you need to like your oud sensation to it. I think I cover everything else here. So like I said, that's the one that Nelson put on his chest. The last one is an unusual one, and I have mentioned this before. I have flagged it. Some people have said I was crazy, but I might be crazy. This is Oudian. This is by Pernoire. I like this fragrance. I was drawn to it more from the curiosity, so like a novelty. But for me, this works in that it's very playful, it's very fun, it's very unusual, but it delivers on its promise, and that is that it combines the unusual scent profile that a durian has, and durian is quite, to my nose, super complex because it's appealing, and as you draw in for like a kiss, it all of a sudden presents to you the putrid, and it's quite unusual that it's this conflicting of these two scent profiles that are fighting with you. You know, it brings you in, but then it punches you in the nose, and I find that Oudian does that very much also. It opens up very, very alluring and happy, and you can trust me. the other thing too that I love is that it has a durian profile to it. So I can't say that it's kind of mango-y or kind of, what do you call it, pineapple-y. If anything, if I want to assign it to a fruit, I think it's more like a kiwi fruit. So kiwi fruit has that almost floral, very tangy sort of scent profile, sugary. You can almost smell the sugar coming off that. For those people who may have experienced, so there's a like an offshoot from a kiwi fruit, which is the gold, and that's the one that I always buy. I find that the gold kiwi fruits are like nice and tangy with sweetness and a little bit floral and things of that nature, and that's what I get from here. This is what I get, this sort of that kind of scent profile from it. The interesting thing, as it opens, it does give you that sweetness, like come in and just be a part of me and have fun with me and sunshine, and all of a sudden, bop, you get popped on the nose with this slightly putrid, almost gutter, and another that sounds weird because you think, so why would you want to do that to yourself? But it does have that durian aspect, and that's I guess the durian smell. I had a chance to actually eat durian, or enjoyed some durian, and the young lady that I was with actually said that that's the beauty of it, that you get those two profiles sort of combating each other, and that's what makes it beautiful. The fact that it's so alluring and sweet and inviting and creamy, but at the same time, it has that sort of putridy sort of profile to it. Anyway, when it dries down, it does go into a more classic fruit and oud place, but done in a different way. Because I'm still getting the tanginess of like the kiwi fruit, and I think even like a sweet citrus, if you want to sort of think what could that smell like. So think of a sweet citrus, overripe orange. That's the sort of profile to it. And the oud is not over the top, but because of that durian nature to it, it's something that you have to be comfortable with. If I compare it to, actually I'll compare it to Flamenco. And Flamenco is serious. So Flamenco is sophisticated and quiet and not too over the top. Raspberry is there, all that fruit elements there, but the rose and the oud is really more present, whereas Oudian, it has the more playful nature of the fruit and the stinkiness, that stinky sort of element that comes from both oud and the durian. I'd recommend it. Try it out. The only thing about it is that, and this is the one that Nelson sprayed on, because we sprayed on card, and he's like, oh, this is weird. And he instantly like, well, that's durian. I can smell the durian in it. He then sprayed it on his hand. So he did, just purely out of curiosity, what it would be like. He wasn't a fan, so just in full disclosure on that. He was like, I get the gist of it, but it's not something that he said that he would enjoy. I enjoy it because it's a unique take on that fruit and oud concept, which has been done quite a bit of late, but this is done in quite a unique way. Let it do its thing. This is one of those fragrances where you just spray it, let it do its thing. Has great presence, great push, 12 plus hours. It has good presence. This is not something that you would take for an indoor setting. This is something you take out for outdoors. Let it breathe, let it do its thing. I like it. I think it works. Boom, boom. All right, that is it. Bada bing. So there's 6 more fragrances to put on your radar when it comes to all things oud. If you want to see that episode with Monegal, the 3 ouds, these are now classic, beautifully constructed ouds, and a deep respect for the oud note. Okay, so whereas durian is just a playful, Oudian is a playful expression in that area. Let me move on to, I'd love to hear your comments, by the way. If you, I know there's one of the subscribers, I look forward to hearing your comment again. I don't know if you've had a chance to, Elueni, to check this baby out, but I know that when I first put it on the radar, expressed some dislike to this particular fragrance. So I'm curious to see whether you've experienced it again, and what are your thoughts? Do you still think it's a no-go? It's a no-go. Yeah, so I'd love to hear your comments. Any other ouds that I should be looking for, put them on my radar. I know that this gentleman by the name of Eric, Kaleidoscope Scent Index, he mentioned that there's a new one that's come out by Parfum d'Empire. I look forward to seeing that one. So it hasn't arrived here in Australia that I know of. So I do look forward to experiencing that and see what that's about. But anyway, he was really talking about that. Actually, that leads me into, boom, 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 yes, olfactive traveling. So as you may have, as I showed you before, and you might know, most people do, I think, by this stage, but if you don't, we released 3 fragrances in November last year. It's all connected to our fragrance tours that we do. Last year we were in Italy. We were meeting with Luca Maffei in his atelier in Milan, and we had been working with him for about 12 months to create 3 fragrances to celebrate the 3 cities that we were visiting: Milan, Florence, and Rome. So Olfactive Traveler is available now. These 3 fragrances are available. Jump on the website, you can have a look at that more. There is a new, and this was always a vision that I had. I wanted to create, because I'm such a collector and my brain thinks in this way, that I wanted to have 3 fragrances to celebrate the tour, but then I wanted to have a fragrance that celebrated Italy. That sort of was like the full stop to this whole expression. So we're about to come out with a new fragrance, and again, I will tease, with a brand new fragrance from Olfactive Traveler. I won't tell you the name just yet. Here are some of the early designs that we've created that sort of shows the artwork. This is now the final farewell to Italy, essentially. This is Luca Maffei is the perfumer again. We obviously want to celebrate or continue to celebrate Italy. These fragrances here celebrate a lot of Italian raw notes, so notes from perfumery like the iris, like bergamot and things of that nature. And so this next one here is a real deep celebration of all things Italian. So that gives you a bit of a clue. But anyway, as of the 1st of August, we begin our messaging, our communication when it comes to all things OT, or Olfactive Traveler, and the new fragrance. So I would invite you, jump on the website. You can subscribe to the newsletter. You'll get some information on that. If you also jump onto our Instagram account, you'll also get some more insight on that, and we'll slowly start to sort of share more with the release happening deeper in August. So just a heads up, August we will be releasing the new fragrance. With all the final pieces are actually now landing. Our team are putting everything together. There it is, boom. I'm really grateful. So here's Eric. He mentioned on a recent post he had 17 fragrances that him and his cameraman David is ODing on, and one of them is actually this one here, which is Dolce Milano. And I'm really glad, because the funny thing is, Dolce Milano has been a slow burn. Pelle Viola because of its limited number, and Roma 271 because of its unique profile, really just busted out of the gate real fast. But Pelle Viola is getting a slow fan base because we ran out of stock. Locally, we've got a few retailers that are carrying the stock or carrying the fragrances, and they sold out really quickly. So I'm glad to see that Dolce Milano, because this was, for me, this was my first, this is the one that I signed off really quickly. Once I smelled it, I'm like, oh yeah, this is perfect, this is it. So Dolce Milano, it's a great, a beautiful woody amber, not woody amber, a beautiful woody gourmand. So it has a touch of vanilla in there, but it really dries down to a wonderful sandalwood and these citruses that are playing in there. Great fragrance to experience. And Eric was saying that it's one of his favorites, which I'm glad. If you happen to be in Paris, I will be in Paris on the 17th and 18th of September. We're getting ready for the South of France tour that's happening, and I will be there for those 2 days. So if you happen to be in the area, it is not a technical meetup as such. If you happen to be there and you would like to catch up, I would love to catch up. So we can check out some fragrances. You can show me something that you're enjoying. It's more a chance to, if you're going to be in the area, then I'd love to hang out, basically. I will have the new fragrance from Olfactive Travel, so if you want to also smell that, I can also bring that along and you can experience that firsthand with me narrating it. Now, the last thing is this. Now, before I spin, I do want to point out, and one thing that as soon as, because in the moment, there's so many things that are going through your brain, and afterwards, it's like, oh, you forgot to mention this. So with Oud Indochine, what is built in the construct is a cacao note. It's a dark chocolate, and it's actually really the signature of this particular fragrance. That dark chocolate, along with the spices and that oud that is sort of the warmth of the oud note, it's quite special. It does, I know that, interestingly, cacao is actually in the base, but for me, I get it very much in that opening, in the midpoint, and then it does dry itself back to that smokiness and everything else that I shared. But anyway, that is one of the signature profiles of this fragrance, and something that worth checking out for that alone, for that warm chocolatey oud. Boom. I'm gonna spin, and this is now for the Penhaligon's promo that I did with Libertine. I have to be completely transparent and honest, I'm sad because only 2 people entered. I worked very hard, to get this promo going, meaning that it was I requested from Libertine a free bottle, and anyway, long story short, the fact is only 2 entries, but one person ordered 2 bottles, so therefore 2 entries. Oh, hang on, I didn't even, hang on a second. I haven't even started recording. Here we go. So, 2, 3, 1. Record is on. Here we go. So, Joey, you have 2 entries, my friend. I wish you the best of luck. And Joey, you did well, my friend. Boop. So, Joey, congrats. You've won the bottle. $450 for you. So, you have a choice between either Bold Blend or Oh the Audacity. If I was choosing, I would go Oh the Audacity, but you gotta like incense and vanilla as a combination, divine. All right, so I'll leave that with you. I'm gonna continue to roll, and this is now the members, bada bing, and we're gonna spin. Whoa, there's a few more people here. Let me just turn that down. So this is now for the members of the channel. There will be 2 spins. If it lands on you, just reach out to me and I will send you Tanya. I think, Tanya, you're actually a very new member to the channel. So congratulations to you. Reach out to me. Let me know what you like. I will put together a little sort of care package of samples of fragrances that I love. I'll try to align it to what you love too, and then send it out to you. Good luck to the next person. Tyler, congrats to you. So reach out to me, team, and let me know what what fragrances you enjoy. I actually have a nice range of different samples given to me by the brands, and so I'll send that out to you guys for you guys to explore. Thank you, everyone. I hope you enjoyed that. Let me know what your favorite oud is, or oud fragrances are. If you are familiar with the ones that I shared with you guys today, tell me what your thoughts are. Do you agree or do you disagree? And other than that, bye everyone. We'll see you guys all on the next Month Talk.